Okay, if you've been following me for a little bit, then you definitely know these deers, and I tried to do like a day and night deer kind of thing, but I realized I don't really like their designs anymore, so we're gonna revamp them, and we're gonna start with the day deer, and we're gonna try to make it a little bit more like a sun deer. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Okay, let's go. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, my name is Karo or karo.lineart here. So yeah, as I said before, we are revamping this guy, and instead of a day deer, I decided to bring it in more like a sun deer, inspired by the sun, or kind of like the stars, because you know the sun is a star, so I was channeling all that in my brain because I was thinking of what I wanted to draw, and somehow I stumbled upon wanting to draw deers, and my boyfriend did say that I could draw something day and night related, and then I thought, wait, but I did that, and then I thought a little bit more and realized that the day and night deers that I drew before, they were kind of lacking in design, in color variations. Yeah, so it's always fun to look back at things, and sometimes I really love what I've done with a piece, but this time I looked back at it and realized that, I don't know if I was blind or what happened, but they aren't that good. And even if you like them, it's not like I hate them, of course, but you know, we can definitely do better. So today I am sketching out the different type of a sun day deer, and I hope you will like it. To be honest, at first I wanted to draw both the night deer and the sun deer, the day deer and the night deer, or the sun deer or the moon deer, I guess, but I only had ideas for now for the sun deer. I had a little bit of some ideas for the moon deer too. Then I realized that it might be a little bit too crowded or too confusing, maybe, and that we could use this spread just for one deer to really get into the design. And not that I really got into design, but I was thinking a bit more than I did for the other ones for sure. So yeah, and I decided to go with Ohuhu markers just because I wanted something light, something that's not too heavy, because sometimes when I'm drawing with acrylic markers, then it's not like you're limited, but the colors are a bit more bold and less calm. I don't know how to explain it better, but yeah. So for the base, I decided to just go with the very light cream-ish color, and I've noticed that I've used that marker way too many times and it's a little bit dry. It definitely needs to get a refill, or I need to just get a new marker. And also because I've used it so much, I noticed that the nib is way deeper than it should be. Yeah, so that's a problem. But I did end up using it for most of the deer and all the other things I drew. So yeah, I really like that color. Anyways, but as I said, I wanted to keep his body light, just because I thought that if it's a sun deer, we are thinking of something light, something airy, something yellow, of course. And that yellow kind of transformed into this gold antler theme. So I was thinking that I could integrate some gold elements, because for me, I thought that this could be a bit of a royal-ish deer. And I, again, kind of have a story for this guy, as usual. I have stories, of course. I can't do anything about it. My brain just thinks too much while I'm drawing. So I would love to know what you would name this guy, but for me right now, I'm thinking of the name Atlas, just because of the Greek mythology, I think. So the story is basically Atlas is a titan, and he got punished by Zeus to eternally hold up the sky or heavens on his shoulders, and I thought it would be fitting because our deer in this story that I'm forming is holding up universes, kinda. Two, you can see later, especially two black hole looking things. Here you can see in his antlers there are two orbs that I will soon transform into black hole looking orbs, and the idea was that he is holding these as worlds or universes, and the chest part where I was just drawing, that is also kinda a universe, but he's basically splitting up. He is slowly dying. I know it sounds sad, but basically these two orbs are the previous deers, sun deers, and he's holding them, and he is also splitting up, and he will someday also become one of the orbs. But once one deer dies, another gets born, and they also need to hold up the universes, and that's how those orbs form. So if he would die, then the next deer would hold 3 orbs, and so on and so forth. I haven't decided if in this universe there would be multiple sun deers or just this one, and I don't know how old they would get, but definitely like it would take a while. It's not like they would split immediately, you know. It would be a while. So he's holding a lot on his shoulders, and then I thought about how we could integrate the moon deer, and the moon deer would be a little bit stone-like because, you know, moon. I haven't figured it out too much, but the moon deer would be a very cold creature, and I thought about what if it's a she and there's some kind of love going on, and this guy could be very, very not approachable basically in the story, because, you know, we're thinking of the sun, and sun is extremely hot, and I was thinking what if the orbs or himself, they're emitting a lot of heat, so he has to be kind of solitary creature, because if somebody gets too close, they start to burn up. But then we have this moon deer, which does not have any heat at all, so they're super cold, and just, I don't know, something towards that kind of vibe. And yeah, and then they would meet, and who knows where this story would go. But anyway, we can always think about it a little bit more later, especially when I'm drawing the moon deer, maybe next week, maybe after next week. I'm not sure yet, because sometimes I need for inspiration to hit. So yeah, I would love to know what you think, if we should change the name, keep the name, what should be the story about, or is there anything you would add or I guess change. I would love to hear what you come up with. It was again fun to read last week's videos comments because some of you came up with really fun ideas for the snake, and there was one comment that said that the watermelon does get stolen, and so the stolen watermelon becomes the other angelic looking snake and finds the other snake, and they are kind of like soulmates, and I thought that's pretty unique. So I love hearing these things from you guys. You are so creative. I can't come up with this. So yeah, this is for the story part. Now we can dive into the technical parts of my brain process of what I'm doing here and what is happening. So as you can see, we have moved on to the wing, and you can also see that the wing is definitely way different. Well, maybe not way different than the other wings that are on the deer, and I just thought we could dive deeper into the design, and it's sometimes hard to do so when you're drawing so small, especially for the deer's head. I couldn't really get into details because it's so small and dainty, and it's not like I'm drawing digitally where I could just bloop zoom and I would have everything suddenly become big. So that's why we are drawing a separate wing, and I'm not sure if I'm keeping this idea that the wing part is also golden, like similarly to the antler part, that it's an actual gold metallic-y part of the deer. Not sure why. It's not that I don't like it. I feel like it might be a bit too much, and also reminds me a little bit too much of something that's robotic, and this is not what I'm going for. But I'm still happy we thought about it, that we explored this idea. That's why we have a sketchbook to just try our ideas out. And while I was drawing the gold parts, especially for the antlers, I realized that maybe the base that I was going with was a bit too dark. So once I got to this guy, and where this whole point was to try to make the antlers more refined, because the previous one is, firstly, the antlers are a bit too bulky there, but just I couldn't make them too small again, because then I feel like it doesn't work as well. So that's why we have this head part where the antlers are a bit better and a bit less heavy. So in this part I decided to take a little bit of a lighter shade for the base color for the deers, for the gold effect to work a little bit better, because the way I'm trying to make it look golden, I guess golden, shiny, is that we have the reflective parts where this lighter base works better, because if I'm going with the darker part, I can just leave for the shiny parts the base color, and it's easier to refine those details later on. But previously, I guess it was just a bit too dark, and then I just have to go with white, and I wasn't really happy about it because it's not like the what's it called? Why am I the sparkly parts? Oh my god, what is my brain doing? I can't remember the word. But I hope you know what I mean. Highlight. Oh my god, guys. My brain. highlights. I'm talking about highlights. Anyways, here I needed the lighter base for the highlights because the highlights don't work just with white, and that was what I was kind of relying on previously, and it was just not working in my brain. It still looks okay, it's not like it doesn't work, but it's not giving that shiny goldish thing because gold isn't yellow and gold has a lot of reflective colors, not really in this design, but if it was near something green, we would have to add that green shine or green tint to it. So I think the technique I used for these antlers worked better because then we had a little bit more depth in them and I wasn't relying so much on the white highlights. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. But yeah, I think I like the idea of these golden, royal-ish vibes for the antlers, and of course I'm trying to define black holes a little bit more. I thought I would go a bit more flowier with them, but then when I decided the form of the antlers, that they also are pretty round but still extend into this S-loopy thing, I realized that if I make the orbs a bit more flowy than I sometimes do, they would clash a bit too much with the shapes of the horns, so I wanted it to be simple. And the technique I'm also using for the highlights is that I am thinking where they are bending, so the bend part or the top part of the bend is where I'm adding the highlights, except for some parts where you look at the light how it hits it. I can go deeper into lights and highlights some other time. I think it's hard to explain here, especially if I'm not talking in real time, because then it's hard to explain which part I'm talking about. So if you want some highlight talks or whatever talk, please let me know. Maybe I will do a little bit more detailed video about that. But yeah, as always, I'm finishing the piece with my favorite pencil, and I'm just gonna leave you here. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and voiceover Karo is out. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching till the end, and I hope you enjoyed the process, and I hope you liked the little revamp we did for the deer. I think I like it. We can definitely still do a little bit of designing, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hold me tightly like I was there and whisper softly in your ear that everything is gonna be alright.